get some help, get some therapy. And I started off with having talking therapy, CBT, and also hypnotherapy, because at the point I thought I was a person who drove for years. I went to all the carnivals when I was younger, and then as I got older, I just couldn't even get on an A or B road. I could get to the corner shop. There was no way I was getting on the motorway. So I went to see a hypnotherapist. A friend of mine told me about the hypnotherapist, and I went to see her thinking I'm going to go and see her because I wanted to deal with that phobia. And I'm a trained solicitor. I'm a criminal defence solicitor for 21 years. I now do employment lawyers for criminal law. But as a defence solicitor, I was also a duty solicitor. So I'd go to Coventry where my duty lied. But I was taking public transport. And my employers at the time were fine about it, but then the pandemic hit. Two companies merged together, and so my manager became the senior manager, and the company that merged, the other manager, became my direct line manager, and he was a narcissist. So it was like, you're going to have to get here, you have to go by this time. So then the pandemic hit, and I was feeling low. So this is the time and opportunity. I decided, right, I'm going to get some help. And so this is when I had the hypnotherapy, and she worked with me, and she says, I can see that, yes, there is a phobia for driving. She says, well, that's not it. She says, there's an underlying one. She says, that's a service wound. She says, something happened in your childhood which has imbalanced you. And I knew this, but you know, when you just don't deal with it because it's the norm and this is life and you just get on with it. So that's what I decided to do. But then she gave me food for thought. And then in the third session, she says, I'm not seeing you next week. She said, you're driving to Coventry. I was like, how am I going to drive to Coventry? She says, you're going to do the breathing techniques and you're going to do it. And funny enough, my mum, she came with me that day. We went on the Collector Road, which is 5 minutes and 20 seconds, but it's felt like a lifetime. And then when I went onto the Collector Road, mum was in the back going, box breathe. So I was like, in for 8, hold it, out for 8. And I managed to get off within 5 minutes and 20 seconds. But when you have phobias and when you have trauma, sometimes, as you quite know, culturally, it's not something that we talk about. It's a taboo, it's a stigma, it's the shame. So as I got to 50, I wrote my autobiography, and my autobiography was called I Am Ashamed, because I knew from a young age something wasn't right. Family treated me different because they all knew how I came to be. They all knew my mum was that victim, but nobody did or said anything. So I wrote the autobiography. I talked about my journey from the age of 6, but through the hypnotherapy, it opened Pandora's box. So I was able to go back further to snippets of a younger age. And there's a picture we had in the family home for many, many years, and it was a picture of me on my great-grandmother's knee, and it was in the house of my father's house. And it didn't register until when I wrote the book. My nan had come back, my great-grandmother had come back to the house to try to resume the marriage in that time when we were left with my father to raise us. So my father raised me from 3 months old to 6 years old when the authorities came in. And so I have lots of things that were just missing from my life. And this is why I think it's important. Therapy is not for everybody, but I really do think it's important that you get the support and help you need to just go to the root cause of where any trauma is to help you to live your better life before you close your eyes and leave this world. Because many women have left this world not talking about it, not talking about it with their children. And what I decided to do in the book as well, which is this book called I Am Ashamed, I talked about my healing journey. And then I put resources in the back of the book because I'm also a mental health first aider. So I know where all the resources are. So I put that in the back of the book. And then I thought, you know what? I want to be that resource. I want to be that person that helps somebody else. And how ironic, I visualized about 4 years ago before I wrote the book, I want to be on a platform telling my story to women of colour, across a big conference hall. I'm going to be doing that this afternoon. And so I'm grieving through this situation. But here we are. And you know, when you have a positive mindset, you can do and achieve anything. But you have to start with yourself. You have to go to the root cause and then build your building blocks on top of that. We also have an organisation that, part of the organisation where we call it Sharing Care. So Sharing Care is like where we are here now in the workshop. We also have another arm which is called Plant and Share. So I have an allotment space as well. So what I do with ladies who come to me, I actually get them to plant a seed. So we've got to the root now, and we're planting that new seed. And in parallel, that real plant seed, you know, if you're like me, I don't plant anything unless I can eat it. So Mum was a flowers lady, Mary Contrary, you know, it's not happening here. So I plant either, let's say for instance, a lettuce or a cucumber. You can't see it under the ground. But what you can do is water it, nurture it, water it, nurture it. And then you start to see it push through the earth. And then you start to see it take root, take a leaf, an arm, a branch. That's where we work with you to enable you to have your positive new mind planted seed and to build on those blocks, because trauma never leaves us. But what we can learn to do is to control it, and this is where self comes into it. And so these are all the arms that we've created. So we do retreats as well. So we do retreats 2 times for the year where we have women that can come for the day. It's a three in one. So you can either come for the day and just have a workshop and be amongst other like-minded women, or you can come the day before and you can have a seed steam and a sauna and, you know, just break bread with us and things like that. Or you can just do the full weekend where most do and just relax and just, it's your time as a woman, because we wear so many hats. So for the process of today, I thank you all for coming. You really made my morning, and I hope what we share with you, you can go on to take away with you and develop from there. And our door is always open. I have walk and talks where I have somebody who lives in Canada, I have someone in the Netherlands, wherever. We do a walk and talk, and it's not literally we're walking side by side, but we can go to the park, we can walk by the lake, but we can also walk. But I encourage them to go out somewhere where it's a safe space and to walk with me and let's talk. And sometimes it takes weeks, so we'll have a session 1 hour a week for a 5-6 week period. Sometimes the ladies, they don't break until when it comes to the 3rd week, and then they feel more relaxed with you and we talk about what's going on with you. I share a little bit of my story, so it gives them encouragement to say, look, they're not on their own. And then by the end of the session, I'm quite confident in saying that these women have come away, even you can hear the difference in their tone, they're smiling, they're talking, but when they start, they say, I don't want to start. Just start. Wherever you want to start. In fact, don't start, let me start for you, and then I'll just, you know, let you know and encourage you that you're not alone. And it's always that, we always feel that we're on our own, because culturally, we've been brought up that way. We keep a stiff upper lip. This didn't happen. My response when I was 12 years old, my great-grandmother found my perpetrator on me. So I'm just putting a disclaimer out here first before we go any further. Some of the stuff I'm going to talk, and I'm just going to hold it in brief. It may be triggering, and if it is triggering and you need to leave the room, please do rise, don't sit in it. If you want to come and speak to me separately or contact me later, do so. But I have to give you this disclaimer, because what I'm going to say is about what held my trauma for 40 plus years. My mom had gone to work. My great-grandmother came downstairs, found my perpetrator with me, and he was banished from the house. My great-grandmother said, we're just going to have to wait until Mum comes home and see what she says. When Mum came home, Mum said, you were up to the job, weren't you? You enticed him to do what he did to you. I'm 12 years old. And held that for 40 years. So, in healing, it's about maintaining, holding those coping mechanisms. Because even when I talk about it, I can feel myself, but I know I'm healed about the abuse, but what I'm not healed about. And this year, my mother and I are going into therapy together because I'm still triggered by my mother just for those words. You expect a mother to hold you. It's not your fault. You're not alone. Really, I wasn't alone because I'm the product of what happened to my mother, but that was relayed to me. In my book, I talk about the mother tree versus the human mother. And the mother tree, in nature, her roots, remember I keep talking about roots, her roots goes underground, which nobody can see, and her roots goes all along the coast of the river, the lake, and it nurtures other trees, which are either their older children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, but these are trees. So what I did is break my generational curse, so that my 3 girls, you met the one earlier on who came in with the food, that's my guru, that's the eldest one. She actually edited my book for me, and when she read my 12-year-old self, she read, "Mom, I'm going to have to kill somebody." And then she went back, she said, "No, I'm going to have to read that objectively." So my children, for the first time in their life, they also heard my story. And why I talk about it in that frame of mind as well is because my children, even up to this week, made me so upset, so hurtful in some of the things they've said, but they're still coming into their life and their transition as well. So I understand and I get that, because what they said is I was still absent from them in their childhood coming, because the youngest is 18, the middle one's coming 20, and the eldest, she's 33. But the eldest one, she was the one who rolled up my back, so she saw me in my traumatic days, which I didn't even know I was in trauma. And she wrote her chapter in my book, Living with a Mum with Trauma. And my mum wrote her chapter in my book, because even though we talk and everything, I have limited time where I can sit in her presence. And it's nothing she's done, it's just the body takes the score, and for 40 years my body took the score. That I love my mum, and I understand and I get what she went through too, and I understand why she was the way with me, because just to look at me, she's seen her trauma, she lives her trauma every day in me. Well, what I did to break the generational trauma, historical trauma, is I wrapped my children up, not in cotton wool, but in bubble wrap. Can I go to my friend? No. Who lives up there? The mum, the dad? No. Mum and just the daughter, yeah, you can go there. Who's coming to the house that day? I was like a hawk. Even with my own husband, no trauma in our house where it comes towards abuse in the physical, in the sexual, because Hawkeye, because it was not going to happen on my watch. So for that reason, I missed the boat in other aspects of being a mother. So why I say chapter 1 in my book, The Mother Tree, talks about the generalization of what a mother should be and how a human mother should mirror themselves to the mother tree. And so for that reason, I have to go back and revisit with my children, even in young adulthood, and up in, my eldest is married now. And when I did the research whilst I was doing the book, I read another book called My Grandmother's Hands. And in chapter 3 it said, generation to generation, body to body. And when I read that chapter, I just had to keep reading it because it just spelt it out. The grandmother's hands is the grandmother of the unborn grandchild. So if you don't change the narrative of your historical background before your children nurture their own, it moves to your children and they then become the grandmother's hand for their unborn grandchildren. So I'm grateful that I've had this opportunity, I've had this awakening, and that I've written my autobiography, and that my autobiography has enabled me to start an organisation to help women of colour in trauma, especially sexual abuse, but any abuse. This is what I want to do. And the theme of International Women's Day this year is Give to Gain, and I know I'm doing that. Thank you. So, YNNS, is it Yardley Neighbourhood Network Scheme? I had an interview at November time last year on one of the local radio stations, and one of the organisation ladies was driving home, and she heard my story on the radio, and she contacted me, because remember, I've been funding this, I'm so passionate about this. I've given up my holidays, you know, and I like holidays 5 times for the year we go, and I've had like a whole year, because we've only been running for just over a year. Launched the book and the organisation on the 25th of January last year, so I've not had a holiday until last week with my daughters, and to fund it. But the Creator and the universe is watching me, and I know this after writing my book. Divine intervention has been following me all along. It was running parallel with me, but I couldn't see it because I wasn't healed. And now they've funded me for last month, and they funded me for this month, so you can all be here today. And they've also asked me and invited me to go for the big one, so I can do this for a whole year. So pray for me that we have more of these sessions and that you will join me again. But to bring this into this hour here now, is I have developed journals with my assistant, Michelle, and it's a 30-day journal. So my plan is every month when I do these workshops, I leave you with a journal for you to do in your own time, but I also ask and invite you to complete the online form to tell me what and how you felt after going through these journals. Did they help? Because it helps us to create and do better each time. But I'm hopeful that you'll come away positive with this. And the topic of today's workshop is resilience and well-being, and this is where the Positive Mind journal comes into it. So we're just going to go through the journal a little bit, because it's yours to take away. I just want us to just share some of that, of the pages, and have a look. So for the first page, I just want you to open up yourself, and it's all about you. Who are you? Just take 2 minutes to just complete that, and then we'll come back to it, because then I'm going to get you to introduce yourselves a bit with that. All right? Any questions?